What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Season 2, Week 9 of the greatest podcast on turf. I'm Ryan.
I'm Anthony.
And for this week's exclusive segment, our first exclusive segment, going to be doing some of our who's on the hot seat in the NFL this upcoming year. One in particular, Drew Lock. There's a few others, and we're going to talk about them.
Yeah, we are. Be sure to like, subscribe, show us love, show some love to our old videos, and be sure to check out this week's episode of the podcast. We're finally back to football this week, as you can tell by me not wearing a basketball jersey, and started talking about Drew Lock. But this week on the podcast, we went over our most improved teams of the offseason so far, which teams improved the most. We talked about some teams that disproved, or
Not a word?
that regressed in the season, talking about our teams who we look to see make a huge step forward, take a big step back. We talked about that, covered some basketball in the beginning, talked about some news, some other stuff in the basketball world, but it was primarily which teams improved on the offseason so far. So be sure to show some love to that. The link in the description. Just keep showing us love, like, subscribe. We're flying through subscribers. We finally decided that our giveaway will be announced at 200 subscribers. It'll be our 200 subscriber giveaway. We'll be giving away 4 jerseys, which will be announced later. And one more thing that still got to talk about a little bit more, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, 200 subscriber giveaway, 4 jerseys will be given away to 4 different people. Be on the lookout for that. Thank our sponsor, Little Italy, letting us record here every week. Thank you guys. Be sure to click the link in the description. Best pizza, best cheesesteaks around. I'll make your cheesesteak. I'll make your pizza. Ryan will be here hanging out. I'll give you an autograph. Ryan, maybe. Ryan's kind of a jerk sometimes. I don't know if you would want his autograph over mine. We got both in a picture. Who cares? But yeah, I think that covers all the basics. You ready to get into it?
Let's just start off with the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Vic Fangio.
And Drew Lock.
But especially Drew Lock. The Denver Broncos, they've been rumored to go get Aaron Rodgers. They also
Or Deshaun Watson.
or Watson. They also brought in Teddy Bridgewater. So I think they made it pretty clear that if Drew Lock doesn't show up, his job is gone.
Pretty much. I mean,
Drew Lock,
sorry.
last year he battled injuries with, not him, but the team around him, Cortland Sutton. I think even KJ Hamler got hurt. This year they're all back healthy. Cortland Sutton's back. Jerry Jeudy's in his second year.
Hopefully that makes a catch.
KJ Hamler's in his second year. Running back, they just drafted one. Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams. They got Melvin Gordon still. Offensive line is looking real good. So
they revamped the offense, and now it's time for Drew Lock to prove himself. Vic Fangio also has to
Vic Fangio
get to the playoffs,
well.
most likely.
Yeah, if Denver doesn't win, at very least, if they don't win at least 9 games, I can see Vic Fangio being out. But in regards to Drew Lock, this is tough for me. I'm a big Drew Lock guy. But with most Broncos fans, probably agree with me on this. If he doesn't play good, he's gone. I think he will be the starter week 1. I don't think them bringing Teddy Bridgewater in poses any immediate threat unless Drew Lock has a horrible training camp and Teddy Bridgewater just shines over him. But I think Denver bringing in Teddy Bridgewater pretty much told Drew Lock, that said, I don't know whether they said it or whether they didn't say it. That to me is saying, if you don't come ball out, do your thing, then you're done. Like, you're getting traded or you're getting benched for Teddy Bridgewater. That's what that says to me.
Yeah, I don't think they have to say anything. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater, and I think Drew Lock, there's a chance that he doesn't start week 1.
Really?
I wouldn't agree with it because I'd go with the younger guy. Drew Lock has more potential. But if he goes out in training camp and he's getting outperformed by Teddy Bridgewater, the Broncos will start the better quarterback because the defense is so good, and they'll just see what they got. You know what I mean?
Seriously. And then, speaking of the defense, Vic Fangio. This Broncos team, quarterback away. If Vic Fangio can't win with this team, that's a problem. I understand that if Drew Lock doesn't work out or Teddy Bridgewater doesn't work out, okay, but still, you have arguably one of the best secondaries in football. You're getting Von Miller back from injury. Bradley Chubb's coming back from injury. Got Shelby Harris you brought back in. You got secondary, no-fly zone 2.0 he's got going on there in his offense. We touched on it earlier. Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Offensive line is
Noah Fant.
Noah Fant.
Forgot to mention that.
Yeah, seriously, I like Noah Fant a lot. But yeah, Denver's got a solid team. So if Vic Fangio can't win with this team, and if Drew Lock doesn't step up, and even if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't step up, Vic Fangio and Drew Lock could both be out of jobs at the end of the season. So, I mean, I think that you say hot seat going into the season. I think we talked about it last night. The first on both of our lists, the first names was Drew Lock, Vic Fangio. So, I mean, that says a lot. And I mean, I'm sure if you ask other football fans, whoever it is, if you pay attention to football, I'm sure that these two names are at the top of almost every list.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think they arguably have the hottest seat going into this next year.
Absolutely. I mean, Vic Fangio, you just got to win 9-10 games. First round exit, whatever. I understand you're in a tough division with Kansas City and the Chargers on the come up, but you got to do something. I mean, this team is very good on paper. The Broncos are real good. And as long as they can stay healthy and perform, they're real good. And Drew Lock, you just got to do your thing. You didn't look that good last year. Your rookie year, you came in with 5-1. Good for you. But last year took a big step back. I mean, I think you're going to be fine. Look to have a Baker Mayfield type year last year. You just had a sophomore slump this year. I think you'll be fine. Keep that starting job. Prove everyone wrong, even Ryan.
Drew Lock sucks. Anyways, ready to jump to the next guy?
Think so.
Daniel Jones in New York.
Dimes.
The Giants are a team that we'll probably mention it on the podcast. They're one of the most improved teams in this offseason, especially on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
I mean, they
absolutely.
brought in Kenny Galladay. They gave Danny Dimes a tight end that can actually play 16 games, and Kyle Rudolph. They also got John Ross, a deep threat. I mean, Kenny Galladay is one of the best deep pass catchers in the league.
Yeah.
Danny Dimes is also one of the worst deep pass throwers in the league. Not sure how that's going to work. Something's got to give. But he's getting Saquon back.
Best running back in the league when he's healthy.
They have one of the best, skill sets of any team, really. Kenny Galladay and Saquon are getting paid big bucks. I don't know if Saquon's getting paid yet, but either way, he's still a top 10 running back.
He's due this year for an extension.
Yeah, he's still a top 10 running back, no matter which way you spin it. Darius Slayton's a solid number 2 receiver. You got Kyle Rudolph and Evan Ingram, 2 weapons. As long as one of them's on the field, most likely one of them will be on the
They
field.
just gotta stay healthy.
And John Ross is a deep threat. You know what I mean? So
And they got Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney in the first round. Forgot about
huge
that.
deep threat they got. And I mean, their defense. Their
Studs.
defense surprised a lot of people last year. They bought in Azeez Ojulari, stole him in the second round of the draft.
Adoree Jackson.
They bought in. They got James Bradbury back. Xavier McKinney came back healthy at the end of last year. Jabril Peppers is due for an extension this year. Their defense, they just bought back Leonard Williams as well. Got Dexter Lawrence too. Does he play for them? I think they got Dexter Lawrence. So, I mean, the Giants' defense is pretty good, but Daniel Jones, again, similar to the situation of the Broncos, his play could hold them back. I mean, their division's going to be competitive this year. Washington football team's division favorites. Dallas is coming back healthy, revamped the whole defense. They're getting Dak Prescott back and both their offensive tackles back. And I mean, the Eagles are going to be bottom feeders again, but still, this division's probably going to be competitive this year again, like we saw 2 years ago. I would say Washington, best defense in football, a pretty solid offense. Got some pieces there, and Dallas, on paper, they have one of the best rosters in the league. So, I mean, if all these teams perform, it's going to be very competitive, but Daniel Jones could hold the Giants back big time for me.
Especially with his turnovers. He's been known to
A lot
be
of
very
turnovers.
loose with the football, especially fumbling.
Fumbles,
Horrible.
interceptions. I mean, some of his decision-making just isn't very good. Hopefully he can turn it around. I'm a Danny Dimes guy.
He's in a very similar situation with
as
Drew Lock.
Yes, both
They're
in-
basically the same guy right now.
pretty much in the same situation, both on the hot seat. Both need to prove themselves this year, or both will be out. Giants have 2 first-round picks next year. They have their own, and then the Bears. So, I
Which
mean, in
might
next
also
year's
be a high pick.
quarterback class is kind of loaded. It's about 5-6 quarterbacks that we could see in the first round, like right now. So, I mean, and I'm sure the Giants, if Daniel Jones underperforms, I'm sure that they're going to be the team going to get one of those top 5-6 quarterbacks. So, Daniel Jones, same thing I said about Drew Lock. You got to go do your thing. I don't know who their backups are.
Let's not even dig that deep.
Yeah, but Daniel Jones better perform. You're getting Saquon back. Your offensive line, I don't know what state the offensive line's in. Don't know if they made any drastic changes. At the end of the season, though, the offensive line did start to show some signs. You're getting Saquon back. You got a solid receiving core. Let's see what you can do.
I agree.
And then moving on, third quarterback on this list, your boy, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is probably the most average quarterback in the league. He's not great, He doesn't quite suck. He's just in the middle. He's not good. He's not bad. He's in the middle, more on the bad side. Minnesota told him before the draft, we're probably looking for a quarterback. That says a lot right there. And then they go in the third round, top of the third round, took Kellen Mond, 6th best quarterback in the class. So that says something. I mean, I can definitely see Kellen Mond playing this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of surprising in a way because if you look at last year, it was actually Kirk Cousins' best year in passing wise. Just the defense was absolutely horrible. They were a bottom 3 defense last year, and I think that they're going to be a better team next year. They'll probably even be the favorites to win the division, depending on the Rodgers situation.
Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play.
But I mean, Kirk Cousins, they brought in his replacement. It's pretty apparent. You know what I mean? Kellen Mond's going to start either this year or next year. It just depends on how Kirk Cousins plays football. If he balls out, then it's going to be pushed back. But if he doesn't show up, they'll be quick to pull the trigger and start Kellen Mond, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, another guy you could argue, I don't really want to get too deep into this one, but Mike Zimmer, is that his name, the head coach?
Yeah,
he could be on the hot seat as well. He's probably fighting for his job. So, I mean, if he sees Kirk Cousins being sorry, why not go with a young guy?
I think that the Vikings are going to be a decent team next year. They're going to get to the playoffs, and they'll probably win the division. Just because Mike Zimmer he's a defensive guy, and he usually puts up a top 10 defense. They revamped the defense this year, and I think they're going to end up being top 15. The offense, you got Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins has to perform. If he doesn't, Kellen Mond will come in, and I think Kellen Mond will do enough to get him there.
Yeah, RG3 said it best draft night when they drafted Kellen Mond. He said that Kellen Mond does everything that Kirk Cousins can't do. Like, he's mobile in the pocket.
Kirk Cousins can't do much.
Yeah, he can throw a good deep ball. I mean, Kellen Mond's pretty well-rounded guy. He's mobile, and he kind of fits that offense. You got Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, all guys that fly around, and Kirk Cousins is slow. I mean, Kirk Cousins is okay, but he's not
winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is not the quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins is going to be that guy. Teams get to play backup, come in and start. Like Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know if he's as good as Ryan Fitzpatrick, but Kirk Cousins is good for 7 wins, though.
Yep.
Pretty average. Kirk Cousins, I mean, Kirk Cousins got on the hot seat the draft night 1 of the draft when Minnesota said, we're looking for a quarterback. Whether it was going to be Mac Jones if he had fell to them, Justin Fields if he had fell, or even if they traded up. I don't know if I heard they may have tried to trade up. I'm not sure. I don't want to go say they did because I don't know, but they might have talked about it. But I mean, them saying they're looking for a quarterback pretty much said Kirk Cousins.
Well, they could have took Mac Jones, but they did trade back.
Yeah. Who did they trade back with? Who traded up to that pick? The Jets when they took Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yep.
Touch on the Jets more on the podcast. Link in the description. Be sure to check that out. Show some love to the podcast. This week's episode was real good. Be sure to check it out. Show us some love.
Ready to jump to the next guy?
I don't have much else to say about this guy because I don't agree with this one. But I'll let you take this one.
Well, speaking of average quarterback, not necessarily hot seat, but a guy who has a ton of pressure on him this year, probably the most pressure in the whole NFL to perform, and that's Matt Stafford. The Rams, they traded away their whole entire future for this man. He has to come in and perform. He has to go win. He has to go get him to the I'm thinking Western Conference Final, the NFC Championship. He has to get him to the NFC Championship. If he doesn't, it's a complete bust. It was a waste of a trade. Matt Stafford, they brought in a guy to go win a Super Bowl, a guy that's yet to win a playoff game. This isn't a Matt Stafford hate. I'm just saying he has a lot of pressure on him. They traded a few first-round picks. They traded away Jared Goff, who got them to a Super Bowl.
2 firsts, a third, and
for Matt Stafford. They think this team is ready to go compete. They think this team is ready to go win a Super Bowl. So, Matt Stafford, you got to lead them there, buddy.
I do have one thing to say. Just a preview into this will be coming out Tuesday. So, well, tomorrow this will be coming out. So, a preview to Thursday's video. Matt Stafford, Dark Horse MVP. My Dark Horse MVP, Matt Stafford. Video dropping Thursday. Be on the lookout for that.
This offense is way too balanced for him to be a MVP.
Dark
He's
Horse
also
MVP.
not airing it out to Robert Woods.
Cooper Kupp on a post down the middle of the field.
Just go to your next guy because he's not burning nobody.
All right, this guy, Matt Stafford was Ryan's guy. The first 3 were consensus. the Broncos, Daniel Jones, and Kirk Cousins by consensus. 4 was Ryan's, and 5th guy. This one was kind of a toss-up for me. Some honorable mention guys before we get into this final one. Tua, Matt Nagy, John Gruden, all honorable mention guys who this could have been. But for me, this is Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury is 13, 18, and 1 in the NFL, and I think this is his 4th season he's going into. In college, he was 35 and 40. Cliff Kingsbury is not much of a winner.
This will be his 3rd season.
This is his 3rd season in the NFL?
I mean, 13 plus 18 is 31, right?
31, yeah. So, yeah, okay. So this is his 3rd season. Going into his 3rd season. Last year, injuries kind of hurt them at the end of the year with Kyler Murray going down. They had a play-in game. Winner gets in. Kyler Murray, I think he was hurt. I remember I was here watching it.
Yeah, he was banged up.
He was banged up, but I think if the Cardinals don't at least make the playoffs this year, I think Cliff Kingsbury could be on his way out. Maybe he has one more year left if they don't make the playoffs, but I think this Cardinals team is very good. And another team we touched on the podcast, link in the description, check it out. But yeah, this is a guy that not much of a winner, doesn't have much winning experience. He finally has a good team. He's got Kyler, D-Hop, AJ Green, Rondale Moore, JJ Watt, Chandler Jones,
Buda Baker.
They got Zaven Collins, Isaiah Simmons. I mean, they have a pretty solid team. You just got to win now. I mean, like I said, Cliff Kingsbury's not much of a winner. And to me, I think his records and just the way he coaches, I just don't think that. I think he's on the hot seat.
So how I agree that he's on the hot seat. But I
wouldn't say before. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but before you go, he's not on as hot of a seat as Vic Fangio, John Gruden.
Warm.
Yeah, he's
lukewarm.
It's getting hot though, especially if they don't make the playoffs this year. He's probably going to be where Gruden and Fangio are next year.
So, yeah, I mean, I agree that his seat's getting a little warm, but I also think that the Cardinals are going to bounce back and make the playoffs this year. I'm huge on the Cardinals this year.
The division's very tough, though.
A little sneak peek on the next episode, Kyler Murray might win the MVP. Just throwing it out there.
No.
He might have been on track to win it this year if that shoulder didn't happen. It's his 3rd year. You know what I mean? It's a sophomore slump, and then it's your 3rd year bounce back. Kyler Murray's
Same
3rd
thing
year.
with Drew Lock.
He got the best supporting cast that he's ever had. He's got D-Hop, AJ Green. He's got
Conner,
Chase Edmonds finally being the running back with James Conner sprinkled in, but Chase Edmonds is going to run through a wall. That's what he said. Chase Edmonds has been showing off. They had James Conner, but he's probably just going to be a goal line maybe.
Yeah.
Chase Edmonds, I think, is going to step up big for this team. I think Kyler Murray is going to go potentially fight for an MVP, definitely be in the top 5 race, and I think this team's going to make it to the playoffs.
Question. You're taking Chase Edmonds in the end of the 1st round where you took Kenyon Drake last year?
I took Kenyon Drake in the 2nd or 3rd.
I think it was 2nd. Chase Edmonds going in the 2nd round where you took Kenyon Drake last year?
I'll take him in the 5th.
The 5th? The greatest podcast on our fantasy football league. Another thing coming soon, by the way.
Just throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. Cliff Kingsbury could definitely be on a hot seat, but I think they're going to show up this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I already threw out our honorable mention guys: Matt Nagy, John Gruden, Tua.
Hopefully, Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy as well. Not a very good coach. I didn't think that Jerry Jones should have hired him. I mean, after they had that sleepover, though, it was kind of inevitable at that point.
Yeah, you have a point.
They had a sleepover. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap this one up. I don't have much else to say, you.
Yep, that's going to wrap up this week's exclusive segment, our first exclusive segment. Be sure to check out the other one where we talked about
our NFL way too early yearly award predictions, MVP, comeback player of the year, most improved player, offensive defensive rookie of the year, coach of the year, defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, autumn awards. We touched on them. Be sure to check that out. Show some love. Be sure to go check out the podcast. Talked about our most and least improved teams of the off season. Go show some love to that. Go show some love to our previous episodes. We went on a couple, 2-3 week period. Talked about some NBA. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check that out as well. Keep showing us love. See you guys Thursday with our second exclusive segment this week. Thank you guys so much for the love. Almost at 150 subscribers. Don't forget 200 subscribers. I almost said 20,000.
20,000.
200 subscribers. We'll be giving away 4 different jerseys to you guys. Be on the lookout for the details for that. And see you guys Thursday.
See ya.
Peace.